Hello, everyone. My name is Deara. Today I'm going to be talking to you about Dum Diverses 1452. It's a serious subject, but before I get into it, I want to give all honor and all glory and praise to HAYA HAYA, the Creator, the Almighty, the Ancient of Days, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because if it wasn't for his love and if it wasn't for him, you know, saving his name, he's not doing this for no one but for his name's sake, you know, and that's something that the world needs to understand. I also want to give a big shout out to Lex Will, and I started studying, you know, started researching. My son asked me a question. He wanted to know if giants was real, and it led me on a researching spiral. It didn't lead me on a spiral down, spiral up, but I would say down because the rabbit hole is deep. But the Most High kept leading me to Egypt, and I couldn't understand, and started following or studying with, I wouldn't say follow, but studying with this young man. His name was Ethiopian Rising, and um, it led me to Christ, the GOCC, and even though I was learning, I still couldn't understand. It didn't feel right to still be using. They kept having a lot of names for the Most High, and it didn't feel right, inside of me. And to be saying it after I said it, I still didn't feel right. And then if they were saying the things they were saying about Jesus and all this stuff was wrong about Jesus, then why were they still worshiping Jesus? Didn't feel right, you know. And then one day, when I was studying off of Ethiopian Rising, it led me to Lex Will. And, ever since that day, it's been about 3 years. And ever since that day, about 3 or 4 years, I've been consistently learning a lot of knowledge through Lex Will that the Most High has been showing him, you know. So I want to give a big thank you to you, brother, because you have been going through it because of the truth that you are telling people. And I appreciate that because we all are going to endure. We are going to be purged physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's going to hit every point in our life. And Madison Smile was right. We're going to be purged in the city and in the wilderness. But who will you choose? The choice you make now, are you going to make the same choice at the end of the day? And are you going to make the same choice tomorrow? But also, I want to give a big shout out to King Drop, Let Us Find the Truth, Higher Mark, Madison Smiles, and her brother. I also want to give a big shout out to my three brothers, because they're in the beginning stages of where I was when I was led to Egypt. And I couldn't understand why I kept being led to Egypt. But King Drop and Lex Will, through them and through the Most High, I found out that America, the United States, is Egypt. And in the Grand Canyon, over 2,000 habitations, 2,000 habitations, only 3 of them has been excavated. One of them, they have found a lot of Egyptian artifacts. It's Egyptian temples in the Grand Canyon. My people, we need to wake up. And if you just waking up, we not fully awoke. The only way we're going to be fully awoke is by getting into these books, into this information, and reading. Knowledge is power. We hear that growing up in school, but we really don't take it to heart. We really don't. And the Most High said, His people perish for the lack of knowledge. So it's time to get on board. So let's jump into it. Dum Diverses, 1452. Pope Nicholas V issued the papal bull Dum Diverses on 18th of June, 1452. It authorized Alonso V of Portugal to reduce any Saracens, quote-unquote Muslims and pagans, and any other non-believers to perpetual slavery. This facilitated the Portuguese slave trade from West Africa. The Pope wrote the bull Ramones Pontifex on January the 5th, 1455 to the same Alonso as a follow-up to the Dum Diverses. It extended to the Catholic nations to the Catholic nations of Europe dominion over discovered lands during the Age of Discovery, along with along with sanctifying the seizure of non-Christian lands. It encouraged the enslavement of natives, non-Christian peoples of Africa and the New World. Okay, hold on. Right. Hold on. Right. Check this out, right? Okay. Let's go back. Pope Nicholas V issued the papal bull Dum Diverses on the 18th of June, 1452. It authorized Alonso V of Portugal to reduce any Saracens, which is Muslims, right, and any pagans and any other unbelievers into perpetual slavery, right? So when you look up the word perpetual, right, that means forever. That's passed down to generation, right? Whether good or bad, right? My background is dark, right? So you will have to look up what perpetual means, but it goes down. Even the Most High tell Israel that they are He will give them a perpetual blessing. He will give their people a perpetual blessing that will be sent down through generation, if they obey His laws, His statutes, and His commandments, right? But if they don't obey His laws, statutes, and commandments, then He will curse their generations 3 to 4 and then 10 generations down. But if they keep disobeying His laws, statutes, and commandments, then don't that come perpetual too? Because don't that still go down generation after generations? Don't we deal with generational curses now as a people? Don't we hear in our family, oh, you broke the generational curse, or that's a generational curse? That's something that happened in our family, and that's something we just been dealing with. Okay, that's enough of that, right? I'm babbling. Okay, so Saracens, right? So when we come here in the Americas, the Saracens are the Moors, which are the Muslims, and the non-believers, when they came here, they got non-believers of Christ. Anybody who worshiped the Creator, then they were non-believers of Christ. They came and enslaved the people of this land, the native people, which are the indigenous people, which are the copper colored people, which are the Negro, which are the quote unquote African American people. You are not African. African Americans ain't African, and you are still in a perpetual servitude.